Good afternoon, fellas. Evening, I guess, at this point. Boys, back for another episode. Week 18 rendition of the BGO Blind Pig, brought to you courtesy of Burgundy and Gold Obsession. That's bgobsession.com.
You can't stop us. You can only hope to contain us.
Or just ignore us. That's fine, too. A couple quick introductions. We're going with the three-man squad. My man to the top left, that is Ohm on the board, also known as Mark. Bottom, by himself, flying solo, is Boone, also known as John. I am Silent Threat, and I hail as Derek. So if you guys have any reason to yell at us, you can probably do it by our given name or our screen name. We accept criticism in both aspects.
My name is Paul. Direct all criticisms to Canadian Hog.
That's right. That's right. Do it up.
Hey, we do have a social media presence out there. We're very active on Twitter at BGO Obsession, and we also have a pretty active Facebook group with a lot of folks that are not even members of our website, but that participate on Facebook. So you can find us on those media platforms if you're interested.
Accurate. And I believe, John, you can echo this if I'm correct, but I think we are streaming a podcast on 18 different podcast platforms. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're pretty much on every audio podcast platform there is. So you just search for BGO Blind Pig and you'll find us.
So if you can't get us on YouTube, you can hear it. Maybe not the same aspect, maybe a little more pleasant when you don't have to look at our ugly mugs.
That is true.
Anyways, on to the task at hand. I'm going to explode. Big news came out yesterday. I was going to try to avoid this tonight, but I figure what the hell, let's go ahead and dig into it. The name announcement will be made on February 2nd, 2022. That is 2/2/22. It will also be made on the Today Show. This is where my head hurts. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and let you guys speak if you have anything real quick, and then I'll hit my rant when you guys are done. Well,
I told you, I mentioned this, that my theory on why they're doing it on the Today Show is no one's going to boo them off the stage on the Today Show if they drop, something lame like admirals or commanders. They're not going to, one of those 10% support names. And it's still possible they'll knock it out of the park, I guess. So I don't want to deny that that's a possibility, but I think that's why they're doing it on the Today Show. That's got to be a component of it, because the fan base right now is pretty, let me put it the way my mom would. The fan base right now is a little tender. And I am one of the most negative people out there, mainly because it's taken so long. They have drugged this out. And I feel like the PR department has this mistaken idea that like the fans are going to get excited. We just have to we just have to present it the right way. The fans are not going to get excited. The fans want this shit to be done with. Whatever it's going to be, we just want it done so we can attempt to move forward. And I think they're just really tone deaf on that point. It's kind of like torture at this point to me. And especially if we've waited 2 years and they come out with some W on the helmet and a lame name, it's not going to be pretty. But again,
I don't think they're aiming all of this. And well, first of all, the 2 years, we talked about this before, right? They're not lying when they say there were legal issues to be dealt with a new brand at the level of an NFL team. It's a big deal. So I was never surprised that it took 2 years. They could have come out with some half-ass thing and announced it too soon without a good brand or anything. That would have been bad. Maybe they could have done this in 1 year, 2 years. I mean, I can understand it. What I think is going on with the constant chatter out of Washington Park is they're not aiming it at us. They're not aiming it at our generation of fans. I think they're aiming it at what they hope is the next generation of fans.
Where are those people?
Well, they are. I'm talking about the kids now who are like my son is 30. He doesn't have any kids yet, but if he did, they might be as old as 5 or 10. And I think that's who this is more geared to, is my son's generation and the next generation. They want to keep as much positive as they can on that. I keep looking in the stands at Washington games and try to find the occasional fan not wearing the other team's colors. But I'm trying to look and see who is actually at the games and who are the people who are the fans that not like when we say the fans, I think of guys like us. I think of people our generation who've been following the team. I'm sorry to lump you in with my generation, Derek. I know you're like,
but
so.
as far as fans go, I am that generation.
Yeah,
Multiple decades,
Yeah.
multiple. You know, I witnessed the Super Bowl in the '91 Super Bowl. I watched it happen live.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that is, I am in.
I see you that way, and I don't really think that. I don't know that at the park they're really all that. I mean, they know we're pissed, right? They've been shoving shit down our throats, excuse me, for 30 years on the field. I think they probably know most of us are done with a whole lot of that stuff. I think they're hoping to sort of start fresh and get some excitement among a younger generation of fans and bring them in. So that was a long ramble, but the Today Show, tell me, there's got to be an affiliation thing right there. I haven't followed the money, but there must be whatever network has the Today Show is probably tied to Snyder Communications or Red, whoever it is.
It's NBC, right?
Is that like Hoda and Jenna Bush? Is that?
I don't even know, John. I don't even know.
No. This is.
Well, that's Good Morning America.
This is Savannah Guthrie.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Kristen. Well, all right. So a little bit of breaking news, real quick. Washington football team and left tackle Charles Leno have agreed to a 3-year, $37.5 million extension. Just came across the wire. So it looks like now we have our left tackle for at least the next couple seasons. Chances are we don't. And then Cosme is a rookie. So I would imagine we probably got our tackles lined up for the next at least 2 years. Sound right?
How old is Leno?
He's younger. He's
late 20s, right? I want to say 27.
He turned 30 in October.
All right. Well, he's got 5 years.
He's probably got 4 or 5 years.
So Derek, before you get on your rant about the name, this stuff that came out yesterday, I just want to tell you guys, I had a dream last night, and in my dream, Washington, new Washington name was in bright neon lights with a purple outline. And it was so bright and so sharp that it just blew up because the name was so powerful.
Was it Dirk Diggler?
That was Dirk Diggler. Yeah.
Oh, that's so bad. Right. That movie was just on a couple weeks ago. So
I just hope we're not on par with Dirk Diggler when the dust settles. I'm trying to keep on my mind.
Right, I was totally waiting for a different punchline on that, brother.
All right.
So yeah, before. Is anyone else surprised that they didn't wait till Super Bowl weekend? That's when I thought this was going to happen, to get the most possible attention.
All right, so this is part of my rant. Here's part of my rant. This team can't even accidentally find themselves in a position to make extra money. Okay, and where I'm with Mark on this is you can clearly tell none of this is geared toward the fan, none of it, so. 2222. Okay, yeah, it's a cool number. Well, guess what else is a cool number? And it's within the same range of a very similar number or time frame is January 26th. Because guess what January 26th is? It's literally the 30-year anniversary of the Super Bowl victory. Why don't we do it?
Maybe they don't want to call attention to the fact that a generation has come and gone since then.
Okay, but
they've never stopped. That's never stopped them before. Like the video they put together, and it's had nothing within the last 30 years on the video. All the glory is so distant. They have to use clips of
January 26th, 2022 is a Sunday. Guess what you can do on a Sunday? You can have your fans in your stadium while you do an announcement. You can have your merchandise in the stores ready to sell the minute you make that announcement. And then whoever shows up can buy directly from your team store. You can bring out former players. You can bring out former coaches. You can bring out Joe Gibbs. You can bring out these guys who are a part of the franchise that you claim you want to hold on to and the fan base that you claim you want to hold on to. Guess what else you can do on a Sunday? You can announce it not during morning rush hour in the market that your team is in on a Wednesday. This is ridiculous. Like, I don't understand what the benefit is. Are you looking for a bigger national audience? You're going to be a joke. Okay. We're going to literally, I put this on the board. We're either going to we're going to lead into, or we're going to lead out of, put whatever that stupid groundhog's name is, and seeing if he sees a shadow or not.
Why would they pick Groundhog Day? I mean, why not go with April Fools? I mean, I don't know. To me, it just seems like a weird day.
You know what? It's poetic as hell, because it's been Groundhog
You're just
Day
opening
for
yourself
30
up to ridicule, though,
years.
you know, like
30 years it's been Groundhog Day. Sell hope, find something to sell the fan base on. We all buy into it. I'm the first one to tell you I eat that shit up. Sorry, forgive my French. I eat it up like something special might actually happen, and we might win in spite of our owner. And I keep getting proven to the exact same point, regardless of who comes through here. And look, Rivera and company have done some amazing things with this team. Don't get me wrong. The culture of the team has changed. They don't quit. Okay, we still come out flat at times, but how many times have we packed it in? You know, sure, the team wants to win. The team loves what they're doing. They love everything about it on the field. Off the field, it's an embarrassment. I don't, unless something has to do with hog for the team. I don't get it unless we're the warthogs and they want to do on Groundhog Day. I don't see what else the reason for that is.
Well, at some point they'll make clear why they've done this, guys. I agree. The date seems kind of random, and if it was simply because the date looks cool on a T-shirt, 2/22/20, I think there's got to be hopefully something more to it than that. My only surprise again is I assumed all along they would do this on Super Bowl weekend, where they really have a chance to. I mean, that's when we've done a bunch of previous announcements, and big NFL announcements seem to come
on Radio Row. On Radio Row, you walk down Radio Row.
Yeah, we'll find out, but I don't get quite as angry as some people do about this stuff. They're going to announce it. They must have a reason they think is sound. Maybe they'll tell us someday. Well, frankly, none of this
matters. They better get it right. They better get it right, because they have bungled. And again, I've said this before. I know Jason Wright is a smart guy. He's a talented guy. I have nothing against Jason Wright. I support Jason Wright. However, they have screwed the pooch on every major PR thing they've tried to do. And some of it's out of their control, you know, commodes exploding on fans, and, you know, pieces of the stadium falling on fans and dumping Eagles fans on the ground. A lot of that is beyond their control. It's just bad luck. And it probably would be stuff that would go unnoticed if we weren't having so many other problems. But they have not exactly lit up the fan base in a positive way with the way they've gone about the whole PR aspect of the team. So they better get it right. They better knock it the F out of the park.
What does that mean? What do you mean by knock it out of the park?
I mean, they better come up with a name after 2 freaking years that they said in their own video, it's gonna inspire the fan base. It's gonna be linked to the DC area and the traditions. They said that, I didn't say it.
So do we believe them, John? Do we believe them that the name they come up with is going to be based in any way on feedback they have gotten directly from?
No, I don't believe that at all. Because the top 3, the most popular names in my perception, again, who am I? It's just my perception, but I'm very active on social media, and I think social media reflects the general populace.
Well,
Warriors, they immediately eliminated. And then they announced, knowing that a big chunk of the fan base wanted it to be Red Wolves or Wolves, they announced that they're not going to do that. So, I mean, they've already eliminated the 3 most popular choices, and the ones that are being rumored are ones that I've never heard any fans suggest. I mean, maybe they got it written on a napkin in their campaign, you know, on their website, but I've never heard anyone say, let's be the Armada or the Admirals. I mean, what the hell?
The Armada is maybe the stupidest thing I've ever heard. If it's that one, it's
going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
My instinct tells me it's Commanders. That's what my instinct tells me. That's based on nothing more than reading the tea leaves that I do see. And I can almost see how they could turn that into a campaign. We've talked about the name round and round. I still think I'd like to see him stick with Washington Football Club, because I think it's classy and unique, which is exactly why they're not going to do it. But
I think the best chance we have at a name that people will get excited about, if that's still possible, is one that no one's thought of, or maybe they'll go traditional with like we've talked here about. Our choice would be the burgundy and gold. it's already a name. It's already the name of the team. Setting aside like it's hard to say go burgundy and gold.
Yeah,
I
I don't
think
like that for what that's worth. I've
I
never
think
liked that.
I think they have to. The best chance they have is to go with something, and maybe they have a master plan. That's the whole thing. This is all distraction. What we've heard, and they've got something in their pocket that's really going to be great. And I hope they do, because I don't want to be in angst anymore. And I'll get over it. I admit it. I'm probably the most negative person out there when it comes to this, because I don't like getting jerked around. I feel like they've jerked this fan base around, and the fan base has communicated to them over and over again, we don't want to wait all this time. You can do the marketing and the logo and all the rest of that. You don't have to keep a fan base who you stripped of a beloved name. You don't have to keep them in suspense for 2 freaking years while you do surveys and focus groups or whatever the hell else they're doing. You
Well,
don't
I
have to
think
do
they've
that.
known, John, I think they've known what the name is going to be for a while, because they have had to spend a lot of time getting all the licensing done. They have to be ready to hit the ground running on February 2nd to sell that merchandise that Derek's talking about. They're not just deciding on the name in the last month. They've probably known the name a year, and they're trying to get all the licensing done.
So
I hope that's what they're doing. I hope that's what their lawyers are doing, because otherwise they're going to get, what was Jason Wright saying? We don't want to spend the next 10 years in court arguing about wolves. That's not the only name that people are going to sue over.
So this was another opportunity. You guys mentioned, Mark, you mentioned our generation. This is the opportunity to, even if fan bases even if the guys like us aren't very happy about the new name, to at least open up this team to a new generation. So how much, these are where memories are made with your fan base, is going to the stadium, going to the facility, and being a part of the name announcement. You know what I'm saying? Being there when it gets them. This is how a father or a mother can take their daughter or son and reestablish a connection with a franchise, is to be a part of a brand new, something that only one group of people is ever going to be able to say that they were a part of it. Opening your doors and accepting that and wearing it. If you get booed, you get booed. Guess what? You're going to sell jerseys. It's going to happen. You're going to get booed there, or you're going to get booed at the draft in April when they announce the team name for the first pick in the draft. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to happen. Own it. Wear it. Establish that
I'm
with the new
okay with that.
generation.
I think I can absolutely see them having done that. Whatever reason they decided not to, maybe it's nothing more complicated than they didn't want to try to do the logistics during a freaking pandemic surge in Washington and get criticized for that. Though, come on, there's so many layers to this. They've never been shy about ways to try to make money, ever.
I'm surprised they didn't go. I'm almost surprised they didn't go with like something like the NFL draft, where you already have like
Yeah, where the
incredible
eyes of the
amount of
world are
excitement.
trained
You've got
on it.
fans there.
Yeah.
Although again, I'm not for delaying it. If I could find out what it is today, I'd be happy. But
Why
I don't know.
didn't they?
I just think they've got to get this right. And I also think I feel sorry for Jason Wright, because I can't imagine the pressure he's under, from the owner who likes to pick our quarterbacks in the first round for us. There has to be an enormous amount of pressure, because I guarantee you Dan Snyder has not been shy about sharing with Jason what he likes. And so that may be the biggest reason it's taken 2 years to come up with a name.
It's his team, bro. Right? If it was my team, I'd want to be involved in naming it, no matter what the fan base thought about me. So
with the limited fan base, the ever shrinking fan base.
You know how you bring either the old fans and new fans in, right? It's not a secret. Win games.
Very true. Very accurate. But this is one of those change of pace opportunities that you can reestablish yourself with your fan base. And you know what? Make it about your fan base, because that's like, the people watching the Today Show aren't the people that are going to be buying your merchandise. It's gonna be guys like us. It's gonna be my 5-year-old and my 2.5-year-old and my wife. You know what I'm saying? Guess what? That's 4 jerseys you could have sold that day. And I'm not saying literally, I'm speaking metaphorically speaking. And how many other families like that I wish I could take my kids up that, if they were older, obviously, but I wish I could take my kids up and let them see Doug Williams, let them see Daryl Green and Art Monk and all of these greats, and expose them and then build off of something, as opposed to like 90% of the people that are going to actually learn the new name are probably going to do it via Twitter or some other social media outlet.
Yeah, they'll be on their phones watching the announcement live. So I do think, Derek, your idea is great of having a day. I think they'll probably do that when they have a chance to set the date and then hype it and build up to it once it's already in place. Because you know what? There's going to be a negative reaction. I don't care what they call them right now. They could come back out and say, guess what? Psych, we're calling ourselves the Redskins. There is going to be a huge portion of people who boos and hisses about it, which will last for a while and will cool down as people get used to the idea.
I think that's
that would
true,
be-
but I also too, and I'm not addressing this to you, but I sort of hate when people say everyone's going to hate it anyway. No, it
Not
depends on
everyone.
how stupid it is. If it's not stupid and embarrassing, like belters, we will accept it. We want to accept it.
Yeah,
Here's the
it won't be
reason-
belters. If it's belters, I'm with you. But it's
Here-
not going to be. It's going to be something fairly generic and dissatisfying to everyone,
We'll
which is
see.
probably their best. That's probably the best they can hope for.
But here's
I
the reason
gotta
why
mention
every-
one. I gotta mention one
everybody's-
thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you see the picture of, I think it was Young, Chase Young and McLaurin, and I think maybe Allen was the third guy.
With the shirt.
With the shirts, and I swear to God, it looked like a hostage photo. And I told somebody, I'm like, if you zoom in, you can see Terry McLaurin has actually written "help" in the chalk dust by his foot.
I didn't
I'm
see
sorry,
that.
but I just thought that was hilarious. They're all like,
Where was that?
oh, it was everywhere, man. I mean, it's just some kind of marketing picture they took.
So, anyways,
Come on, Derek. You had something that you were about
Sorry,
to say.
man, I
Go
cut
for
you
it.
off, Derek.
I don't even. I honestly, I don't even remember what it was at this point. I'm wound up. I'm watching the way that this franchise, and it's. I don't under. It's poetic. It's on Groundhog Day. I don't understand how we can keep rinsing and repeating. The fumble of the Sean Taylor ceremony was so bad that we're not learning from it. Like the outrage, and then Jason Wright comes out publicly and says, I should have included the fans. I didn't realize how important it was to the fans to be a part of that. I should not have done it the way I did it. I should have let the fan base be a part of the celebration. And then you're announcing the name on the Today Show. Jason Wright's supposed to be the smarter guy in the room. Okay, what does NBC have pictures on Dan Snyder? That like what did the
No,
or did the
I'm gonna go
NFL
back to what I
intervene
said
here?
before. I think we have to connect the dots. I mean, clearly there's a cross promotional thing there. I don't know what it is, but it's not an accidental. It's going on that show by that network or whoever owns
In
it.
that
Well,
time frame.
here's the thing, guys. I mean, let's not pretend like there's only one way to do it. They could invite fans to Ashburn or wherever. I don't think they're going to invite fans to FedEx because it'll be like a bunch of space and 10,000
Right.
fans. But they could do a simulcast somewhere else so that, you know what I'm saying? It's not just on the Today Show. There's a lot of ways they could do it, but
Yeah, but my biggest okay, do it on NBC at prime time at 8:00 at night when your entire regional fan base is going to be at home and able to be in front of their television.
yeah, I don't like it either. But
Not at 8:30 or 9:00 in the morning on a Wednesday when people are going to be driving to work or at work. You know what I mean? There's no way for them to actually be a part of the whole thing. Even if you're right, you don't have to do it in person.
I don't
If you
think
wanted-
they get it. I don't think they get how, and Mark isn't emotional about it, which I applaud that. It's not like I respect that. I wish I was that way, but I'm not. And I don't think most fans are able to do that. And I just think they're not fans. Rivera's not a fan. Jason Wright's not a fan. He can have as many freaking fan ambassadors that he, takes
Well, that went a
selfies
long
with,
way, didn't it?
but he's not a fan. And I don't think he really gets how, at a gut level, how emotional people are
See,
about
I'm
the
not,
name.
I'm glad that you said that. I am not emotional about this. I get that you guys are. How they've chosen to announce the name to me, I really couldn't give a rat's ass about it. What I care about is what the name is going to be, what the logo and the uniforms are going to look like, because I'm going to be looking at those for the next, I mean, for the next however many years I have left, that's the team I'm going to be looking at because I'm stuck with them. So that, yeah, I'm emotional about that.
The logo,
I
they've
don't care
got to
about,
get
I don't
right.
care about the process of how we get from here to there. I really don't.
Well, the logo, you want the logo to get right, but even the Ravens changed their logo.
Yeah, the Ravens logo was awful, but the
It was
name is
that-
cool, you know, and now we're used to it. So,
Well, no, the original Ravens logo was like the shield, if
right.
you remember correctly, that had
Yeah, I
like the
do.
Maryland flag in it. It was bad, but so you can even fix the logo. What you can't fix is the announcement. You know what I
Is
mean?
anyone really going to remember the announcement in 5 years, brother?
If I was there with my kids, I would remember it.
Well, fair enough. I bet you'll have an opportunity this spring. They're going to have a FedEx Field Commodores Day, you know, come and get your gear and meet your heroes.
So what, Mark, you said that your first choice was Washington Football Club. What about you, Derek? What's your first choice?
If it was me naming the team, we'd be the Warthogs.
I like the Warthogs.
Not Warhogs, Warthogs.
Right.
The animal.
Yeah,
it would be.
I don't know what a red hog is, and I don't know what a war hog is.
Right. It would be.
Both of those scare me for different reasons. But one of them sounds like a euphemism for something else, and the other one, I don't know. I don't want to see giant hogs in battle. I just don't want to see that.
Yeah, warthogs doesn't hit me in the right place. I mean, I get it. It's a badass animal, but warts I'm not a big fan of, and the only hogs I've ever liked were 66, 68, 53,
well,
74.
That's the point. Is
but that's not how the world will see it. You know, that it'll be derided anywhere else but here.
Well,
so I think they're going to go with some kind of a military theme, and I think they use the word defend 4 times in the little video clip, at least 4 times.
Defenders.
Yeah. So
at this point, defenders I would take that over commanders.
I think I would be okay with defenders or the Sentinels. I like the Sentinels. I think
I would take either one of those over.
That's not bad. I think it's going to be Commodores, and I will learn to live with it.
Commodores or Commanders?
Oh, it was Commanders. Yeah, not Commodores. Just think of the Redskins. I mean, sorry, the Commodores band would be pretty cool.
Hey, I just want to say I was a commander and I don't like it. So for what that's worth.
Or Admirals has a little bit of a ring to it.
It'll be named after some kind of military
I think so.
moniker of guys that don't do the real work. Like, let's call it, what about the grunts?
The armchair generals.
The Lance corporals.
the bullet sponges. Okay, we can do that. No, well, that's why I like Warthogs. You can integrate the military. There's an A-10. You can have a flyover every week.
Well, think of the cute little warthog swag you could have for the kiddies, the new generation.
Hey, you could bring back the Hogettes. It would still work.
Pumbaa would be our mascot. I mean, you know,
who
everybody wins.
Hey, come on, man. Who doesn't love Puma?
Can you imagine if we were doing podcasts and our main focus every week was our playoff seeding at this time of year? Instead, we've spent the first 20 minutes of a podcast talking about how they are announcing the new name.
Well, you said why are they announcing it now, or what? Well, because what the hell else is there to talk about?
Fairness,
it's like okay, the season's effectively over. So
whether they deserve the attention like this or not, this is a pivotal and major decision about how this fan base is going to follow this team going forward.
This will be our forever name, guys. It will never change after this.
That's what I'm saying. That's the important part about this. Look, the name has got to be right and the look has got to evolve right.
Here's the thing, guys, and the two of you are as dedicated as a fan as I know, and I've known you guys for multiple decades. We've had conversations about this team. I can honestly tell you that I believe if they get this thing wrong in a year, this podcast doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that we're going to throw our hands up and dismiss everything, but if the luster's not there, if the enjoyment's not there, we're going to become lackadaisical. We're not going to want to talk about it anymore if it's just something we don't want to participate in
I
anymore.
think here's the way I would say it, Derek. The thing that's held the fan base to the extent that it's been held together over the past 3 or 4 years, it's been that the ties that we had as kids and growing up and watching, and some of that was
Agreed.
glory years. But I mean, even people that never experienced the glory years, it's still like my dad was a Redskins fan, or so I think the risk is that once you eliminate the name, if it doesn't still feel like like a Redskins kind of
Well,
tradition,
it's not
then
what
then
it was. It's not. You know what I mean. It's not even.
people
Look,
might drift away.
it's so stupid and it's so minor. But I find I play Madden. If you go and play Madden Ultimate Team and you get Sean Taylor, he's got the Redskins uniform with no logo on the helmet, and it's just stupid. Like you're. I'm not saying that you have to continue to display that, but guess what needs to happen? You need to find a way to reinvigorate the people who have been supporting this team for a long time, or it's going to hurt, and it's going to hurt bad, because then not only are you going to have to reestablish yourself with a fan base, a new fan base going forward, you're going to have to figure out how to fill the void of what you lost. Because us three idiots are going to talk about this team for the rest of our lives. We're going to follow the team for the rest of our lives. How extensively that happens is up to them.
There's also, we've said it now, at least I think all three of us have said it. This is something that is going to be around as long as there is a Washington professional football team. This is probably the name it's going to have. There are, in addition to fans like us who have history and whose kids can say, hey, my dad was. There's a whole lot of fans. I originally became a fan here because we moved here. I became a fan of my local team.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a huge percentage of fans now and fans that will be born between now and long after the three of us are gone who root for the local football team. So I think we might be overstating. There's going to be some short-term hurt. I still hate that we've lost our name. I never agreed that we needed to lose it. I understand why it happened. I'm still mad about that. But I'm not as interested in the name and I'd hate if they changed the colors, but if we went black and we went red, maroon and black, it would be silly and I'd be irritated for a year or two. But I still love professional football and I love to root for my local team. So I'll get over it. I'll get used to it.
Well, the irony, I'm glad
at some point at some point, Washington is going to be the Admirals, and these are the colors, and there will be people who have no recollection of the history that the three of us share.
will embrace, most people will eventually embrace it.
I think
they do it grudgingly.
It'll help if they can win a game or two in that time.
I just want to say one last thing and then I'm done with this, although you guys can feel free to
I know, I'm with you.
I think it's kind of a double-edged sword because on the one hand, I think they're trying to do the right thing, which is tie it to the traditions and the history, and they don't want to lose all that. But in doing so, it would be a hell of a lot easier to rename this team if you weren't burdened with that. Like how, especially in DC, because DC is a very fluid, mixed environment. It always has been. Like when I grew up in DC area, my neighbors changed constantly. Like I had a couple of good friends growing up, but mostly it was new people all the time. And that's the DC area.
It's as transient a city as there is in the country.
It's not really known for like there's certain parts of the country like Boston or Seattle or where they're just known for certain core things. And DC is a lot more cosmopolitan. So I think they've made it really hard on themselves because not that that's the wrong way to go, because I know it's well-intentioned. They want to give fans something that feels comfortable and they have a tie to it and all the rest of that. But that's a steep mountain to climb. It's a lot steeper than if you just said, we're going to rename the team and every name and every color scheme out there is available. That's a lot. If I'm a marketing company, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, we can do that. So I don't know. I think they made it really tough on themselves. I hope they pull it off. I really do.
Well, it'll give us something to talk about on February 3rd.
Well,
as opposed to how we lost another game.
Yeah. I will close and just say, despite everything you just said, John, this fan base is starved for inclusion. This fan base is starved for being a part of it. We have always been one of those fan bases that wants to be right there. There's a reason why there was a group of us at the welcome home after we lost to Seattle in the playoffs at 12:30 or 1 in the morning after they flew home in the rain. And Joe Gibbs got off the bus and signed every autograph he could. And Joe Gibbs was that kind of a guy. That is something that we've always been that blue collar, that guy is just another guy, kind of like, not just another guy, they're larger than life, but they're also just willing to have that conversation with you. And countless stories of people seeing Redskin players at bars, Redskin players on the street. You feel like you're part of the organization. And everything they've done over the last 18 months has taken the organization and elevated it to a point where the fan base is not a part of it anymore. Now we're spectators. And that is where I think they're going to find themselves in trouble. And I wish they would have handled it a little differently. So,
as you were talking about that, I thought of the name that I've heard mentioned a couple times, which is the Washington Legends. Maybe that's what they're going to go with, because that's all we have right now.
Somebody said that it's going to be on Groundhog Day just because they're going to rename the team the Washington Football Team. So it's just going to be that cycle of rebrand, and you're going to feel like you're living the same thing over and over.
Tell you what, if they do that, that better be one hell of a logo.
Yeah, I think that would be
if they run out Washington Football Team and they still have all the same helmets, all the same everything, except they just put the W on the helmet instead of the numbers.
Yeah, I'd fire Jason Wright at that point.
What?
At that point, you made us wait 2 years for that. I mean, that's not going to happen. I can't imagine that will happen.
No, I'll be surprised and disappointed if that's the best they could come up with.
Anyways, football. Do you guys want to talk football, or are we just gonna?
Oh, I think we should touch on it because I know, John, you're pretty good at touching these off, but right before we came on, I was doing some notes and I'm still trying to think this through. To me, this game, I don't watch all the games live anymore. I watched this one live, and I'm watching us drive down the field at the end of the game. And even as it's happening, I'm thinking, you know what, this is a game that feels like one that we've been losing forever. It's also one that if they end up scoring this touchdown and winning the game, the difference in the tenor of the conversations we're having the day after between Bates getting tripped up at the goal line and that pass sailing by him and getting picked, or from the end zone shot I saw of Taylor's pass, it's right there. And Bates doesn't drop balls. He catches it, he scores. How different does that entire game look and feel based on that one play? That's the margin of winning and losing. And I started pulling back from that. And if you take in context, all the hurdles that the team was trying to clear and playing that game, all the people that have been missing, anybody listening to this knows how shorthanded we were offensively, what the defense has gone through, the COVID thing, all of that. And still it comes down to a guy's shoelaces getting caught up in a defender at the end of a game. It's just remarkable with the different, how close the razor's edge is between winning and everything that goes with that and losing, and the incredible negative connotations that pile up because of that. So I just wanted to make sure I said that before I lost it.
Was it Madden that said that somebody said a long time ago, or maybe not a long time ago, that games are basically won and lost in 4 or 5 plays. 4 or 5 plays make the difference in every single game.
Yep. And we could track them real easy in this game. Real easy. You could come up with 3 or 4 plays that are the difference.
So I felt like I usually kind of reject this idea when people blame a loss on the coaching staff, because I feel like, the coaches can do all the coaching they want. They can call the plays. They can do what, and again, Scott Turner, I've defended him because it's like, it's not always about the play call. It's about, did we execute the play call? Did we do what was called for individually, and did we successfully execute the play call versus blaming the play caller. However, this game, I felt like the coaching staff lost the game for us, and I'll tell you why I feel like that way. And it goes to your point about a couple of plays. We went for it in the fourth quarter on 4th and 4 with 7.5 minutes left to play. We're midfield. I think we're at their 49-yard line, so we're literally at midfield. We're down by 1 point, and we're going for it on 4th and 4. I don't understand that play call, and I'll tell you,
I hated it too. I was yelling.
Here's the other thing: is we did not go for it at the end of the first half on 4th and 1 from the Eagles 37. We decided to let our off the roster kicker, who's a good kicker, but we don't know. We can't rely on the guy, Sly. We don't know really, is he going to hit a 55-yarder? He did hit it. So that's great. And I was glad at the time to get those points. But
he missed it the first time. He missed it the first time.
Right, he did. But if you're going to go ballsy, don't do it. It felt like desperation to me. It felt like desperation. And even the play with, what was it, like 30 seconds to go, the interception, where Bates got his feet tangled up. Even that was like, why do we really have to throw? Do we have to go for the end zone on the very first play to a guy?
I liked the throw. I like.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that's probably a touchdown or on the 1 yard line if he doesn't get tangled up. But I just felt to me like the coaches panicked a little bit. Like, we're literally down 1. Why are you panicking? Why are you going for it on 4th?
I agree with you on that 4th down. That one was risky as hell to me. And it's not like I thought. I was thinking as they're getting ready to snap the ball, well, I hope they're dialing up the best play I've ever seen. Instead, we end up going in the flat 2 yards short of the first down to a guy, going sideways. Yeah, I thought that was an awful decision.
Meanwhile, we ran our favorite formation out of shotgun, spread the defense out, 5 wide receivers, no help in the backfield. And go figure, Heineke's under siege as soon as he catches the ball.
He was under siege the whole second half. And that's the other point I was going to make about the kind of pinning it on the coaches, which is we dominated the first half. We scored on our first 4 drives. Now, it would have been nice if more than one of those had been touchdowns, but we literally scored on our first 4 drives, and that was it for the game. The Eagles came out in the second half, and we had no answer. They flipped the script. We dominated almost every category in the first half, and they flipped it in the second half. So we made no adjustments, or whatever we adjusted to did not work. And I think at some point the coaches have to own that. It's a shame.
Well, the other thing,
I'm still proud of the effort that I saw. That was not a game where I was like, wanting to slip my wrist as time expired. I was proud of them. I even wonder, like, was some of the COVID stuff still a fatigue factor that might have been out there? I don't know, but I felt like we could have won that game, and we should have won that game.
Well, the other major part of this that I had a problem with is the 2-minute drill going into halftime. We got the ball back with just over 2 minutes to go. When we took over, I believe we were around our 10-yard line. We ran the ball 5 times. Then we hit Cam Sins on a curl route, and it put us out near the 40. And they're like, oh, shit, we might actually be able to get some points out of this drive. And we went scramble drill. You're 6-9. At that point, work on your 2-minute drill, okay? Let's try to put something together, because I want to say Philly had gotten a little bit of the momentum, if I'm remembering correctly, but it definitely had not completely swung yet. I think the final swing was at 4th and 5. That just killed us. But you're going into halftime with more than 2 minutes to go, the ball in your hand, and you had, like you said, scored on 3 possessions leading into that. Why are we coming out conservative? Because we have a 13-point lead? Like, we've seen 13-point leads disappear in the blink of an eye, and that's nothing new. We almost came back against Dallas down by 20 a couple weeks ago after a touchdown and a pick 6. That can change like this. So you're going to be happy that you're going in 13 to whatever against a team that killed me. And that is where Rivera, like, where I don't understand I'm going for the victory. It's 4th and 5 with 7.5 minutes to go, and I don't have a lot of confidence in my defense. Meanwhile, there's 2 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock. We have the ball, we have the momentum, but I'm comfortable being conservative enough to run the ball, and hopefully we grind out the half. But if we don't, then we're punting the ball to Philly going into half on a short field. Where am I going for the win? Where am I being conservative?
Well, one problem with trying to be aggressive is when your offensive line is unable to protect your quarterback on anything more than a 3-step drop. And even then it's diffy. It's tough to be real aggressive with a downfield passing game.
I thought
I
Heineke
think they're
played-
protecting their quarterback and trying not to get him killed.
I thought that was one of Taylor Heineke's best games, and I'm excluding. He threw 2 wounded duck passes that were like ridiculous. Never throw that pass. One of them was caught for a first down, which it should not have been
That
thrown.
the lollipop to
Right.
the other sideline.
And the other one was a disaster. But I think overall he played really well, and he was getting. I mean, there was a lot of pressure on him in that game.
The man rarely has a chance to take 5 or 7 steps and go through a read progression.
So
If
we
he's lucky
wasted.
to-
I felt like we wasted a really good afternoon by him.
So you know what? This is the other thing that really jumped out at me. In a game where our defense is, we held the Eagles to 20 points. My NFL teams win a lot of games when they only give up 20. But the one thing that they are not doing during this time is missing all these players is creating turnovers. We had no short fields in this game. I just was curious to see if my memory was right on this. We had 8 meaningful possessions in this game. Our best starting field position was the first one, and that was at our 33. After that, they went 24, 25, 6, 25, 9, 21, 25. Our average starting position for the game is the 21-yard line. The Eagles, we saw it's a tale of 2 halves. They had 7 meaningful possessions. And see if you get a progression here. 25, 20, 25, 25, 42, 43, 49. We're operating on a short field. We are operating offensively where we are going on average 79 yards on every possession without our top 2 running backs, without our top tight end, without a number 2 wide receiver, with an offensive line that can't
on
protect.
a 4th-string center.
It's really with a backup quarterback. It's really hard to win in the NFL.
It is
with the deck stacked that way.
It's just a shame though. We held the number 1 rushing offense in the league to 118 yards. 44 of that was Hurts, and half of Hurts yards came on 1 yard. So it wasn't like they were running all over us. They were not. We contained the run pretty well. We only had 1 penalty the entire game. 1 penalty. So we should have won that game. We should have won it. It's just disappointing. I mean, probably it was a meaningless game, but you still want to win.
If you win last week, now we're going against New York. We're 7-point favorites.
At least, and we're still in it. I mean, technically, we'd still be in it.
Well, I mean, not even that, but finishing the season 8-9 versus 6-11 is complete. I mean, you're talking about 2 different languages at that point. You know what I mean? And if you finish the season 2 wins, you beat Philly, who's a team that's vying for a playoff victory or a playoff, position. I mean, you're talking about a completely different mentality going into the offseason.
That's the old question of whether or not it carries over from one season to the other, right? I go back and forth on that.
I think our team is young enough. I think it could carry over to an extent. Now, we didn't beat. If we had beat Tampa week 16, I mean, we're having a different conversation. That's one thing. It's not like we're beating the biggies in the league, but I think the team is young enough that you continue to establish a winning culture. I don't know that it's necessarily that beating the Eagles is the difference between us being a winning team next year and losing. But
wait, how wrong were we about the Eagles? And I'm saying we because I don't want to say me, but I was so wrong about the Eagles. And I think the whole NFL, I mean, they have a really good defense. Obviously, their running game with a rushing quarterback, but Hurts can throw the ball, and I was wrong about him. Now, I don't know whether he'll continue to be accurate, but the guy can throw the ball accurately. He makes good decisions. They're a really good team. If I was going to pick a team that might surprise some people in the playoffs, it's not Dallas. I think Philadelphia win a couple games.
They got a chance to win a game or two. They're relatively healthy, as I understand it. That's a big deal. John, I was right with you. I think I predicted them to go 4 and whatever.
I
But
pulled
those-
it up if you guys want to know what we
those
predicted.
I
predictions
know I
made.
picked them to be last.
Well,
in
wait
the-
a minute, but like we justified those, and those were not just because we don't like the Eagles. Those were based on analysis of some facts. They got a rookie head coach who's never been a head coach. They had rookie coordinators. They did not have proven talent at a whole bunch of positions. So the experts were also predicting the Eagles were going to struggle. They've done a nice job of maximizing what they had. They found an identity. They've got a quarterback who's playing well. Whether or not they can sustain this over the next 2 or 3 years as the NFL starts to figure out about this head coach and these coordinators and what they do and don't do well, we'll see. But yeah,
Well, and the
year,
Giants are awful,
well.
and we've had a historically challenging season again. But I mean, I think this is one of the most challenging seasons we've ever had with injuries and the
When we were
COVID.
making our predictions about us, we thought we had Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback, and we thought our defense was at worst going to sort of pick up where it
Curtis
left off.
Samuel,
Yeah.
a really top corner.
Yeah, so
addition and all that
those
stuff.
preseason predictions don't really take into reality how it
Oh,
plays out.
The other thing is somebody likened them to us last year, because I'm going to go back real quick and I'm going to run down over the last since Halloween. This has been their schedule. They beat the Lions 44-6. They lost to the Chargers. They beat the Broncos with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. They beat the Eagles with Taysom Hill at quarterback. They lost to the Giants. Then they beat the Jets, who have arguably some of the worst quarterback play in the league. They beat us. Then they beat the Giants with Mike Glennon at quarterback. So, and then they beat us again. So I think a lot of them is also they did what we did last year in their run, and they took advantage of coming up a very weak stretch, some bad quarterback play, and they're running the kind of game we were running last year. They're running the ball all over the stadium, and when they can establish that run and control the clock, then they look like a dangerous team. But when they can't, that's where they can find themselves in a little bit of trouble.
So I wasn't disheartened by the loss, other than that I felt like it was one that was right there for the taking, and we missed the opportunity. But we need to beat the Giants convincingly. They're not a good team. Their coach is a buffoon, in my opinion, and they don't have a quarterback. I mean, Daniel Jones, that guy's owned us. He's not a great quarterback, but he's the best they have.
He's out,
And-
right?
Yeah.
He's out for the rest of this
Is
year.
it is it Glennon this week? Do we know?
Yeah,
I
we have
think
Mike
so.
Glennon. No,
So
it might be from.
I know
Might
we've
even
had
be-
some disasters in the Meadowlands, or in whatever they're calling their stadium these days. But I feel like this is the game that you don't want to go in there and have a poor showing going into the offseason. I feel like we're a
Mike
better
Glennon
team.
had surgery the day before yesterday, so it looks like it's
Okay.
going to be from.
Yeah. So
From shouldn't scare anybody. So
we're a
Yeah,
better team.
I
We should
agree,
have.
depending on who's available for us, right? We have no idea who are our running backs going to be. Are we starting a
Gibson got activated.
Are we starting a 5'2" undrafted rookie at running back again?
Antonio Gibson got activated off COVID.
Okay. I mean,
I
so
think
yeah,
most of these guys are
if we have a representative sample of our team out there, I think we'll probably beat them.
the ones
we're
that
seven-
are on IR, you mean?
Yeah.
We're a
Ridiculous.
7. We're currently a 7-point favorite in New York.
Which is crazy to me. I wouldn't favor us. I would maybe make us a 1-point favorite or something.
1 or
but
2, yeah.
yeah.
So we need to go in, and they're bad, and they're trash talk. Their head coach is trash talking us.
He's such a buffoon. I think you used the word. All I care about this weekend is a month from now, whether we win or lose will be less important to me. Is like this last week against Philly, did whatever's left of our team show up and give a shit and play hard and have a chance to win an NFL game? You know, that to me does carry over.
I agree. I think you're right, Mark. I think this is kind of a statement game. You've got nothing left to play for other than the fact that you just want to beat the shit out of the guy on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, because it should matter to the guys playing the game.
Correct.
You
So-
play to win the game.
So you know what? I want to, and it's going to annoy me. We could come on here next Wednesday if we want to do a podcast.
Yeah,
If we end up winning this
I
game,
want to talk about our epic 72-3 win.
right? If we win this game, if we find a way to win this game 27-13, convincingly, it's going to annoy me because I'm going to say, where was this team all season? But you know what? We had better go out there and just prove it. Just go. Like we've played down to opponents this year. We've played up to opponents this year. Go out, prove you're the better team for a change. For once in 17 games, prove
We did it. I don't know. We did it on at least 3. We beat 10. What was the 4-game winning streak? We were better than the Raiders. We were better than the Seahawks. We were better than.
But what I mean is we won the Seahawks and the Raiders games. We won 7. Let's be real, 17-15.
We were the better team on the field that day.
We were the better team on the field a couple times this season, even when we lost. What I mean is go out there, prove you're the better team, control the damn game, win, send them home, or come home happy on a flight and end the season on a high note. Simply because you're better than the guy across from you.
I'm with you.
And then go get Russell Wilson.
We're gonna have to do something. I'm almost bitter we didn't make a move for Derek Carr last year. I don't think he's going to be on the market this year.
It was too late. Plus, he said he's never leaving the Raiders. I mean, he's a Raider.
Why would they ever let him go? That's
not now.
That shit.
I don't see him leaving unless they completely, disrespect him and underbid him or whatever. But
the sad thing is my gut tells me we're going to end up with like Matt Ryan,
Trubisky.
No, I think they'll make it.
Derek, I'm okay with an affordable Matt Ryan to run the offense for 1 or 2 years while the rookie we draft learns the NFL.
Well, Matt Ryan's under contract, and his cap number for next year is like $48 million.
Well, I know we'd have to swallow that. We're not doing that.
No, I don't think No, Atlanta would have to swallow.
They may be in the Baker.
Mayfield. We already have Baker Mayfield. His name was Taylor Heineke.
Correct.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I guess
a little bit stronger, but he's not appreciably better than Taylor is.
If I was to make a wish list of viable quarterbacks that are going to be available, Russell Wilson is probably at the top of my list simply because if you look at age, cost, all of those things, I don't see a better fit. I don't know.
He's as good as any quarterback in the league right now. I think he is. I know he's older, but he's not that old.
Well, now that his hand seems to be right again, he's looking more like the Russell Wilson I remember. He's an older Russell Wilson, but he's a truly professional quarterback.
That guy's a warrior, man.
He can take you deep into the playoffs on a good team with a defense.
And he's a Ron Rivera kind of a player, man. That guy.
I agree. He's a little bit of a strange cat. Plus, we can all get our health supplements and stuff directly from him.
You guys want to make some predictions?
Yeah, I think we're going to be called the Commodores, and I do think we'll beat the Giants. My gut tells me we'll beat the Giants, if for no other reason that they're in even worse shape than we are personnel wise.
And they care even less.
They care less, and their fans are not going to be behind them. I mean, we will start. You're going to hear Washington fans in that stadium every bit as much as you do Giants fans. So I do think we'll win. I think it's a big game for Taylor Heineke. I think if there's one guy on that team who is going to be playing his ever-loving ass off, it's Taylor Heineke, because he knows it might be his last chance to start in the NFL, right? This is another audition game for him. There's a lot of guys on the team that need to show well at the end of the year for personal reasons, for team reasons. So, yeah, and I think it's important to Ron. I think we'll go up there and win. I'd love to see it be a 27-13, like you're saying, Derek, where I don't have to be chewing on my hands for the last 10 minutes of the game again. But my guess is it's going to be one of those games that we end up winning in the last 5 minutes. I'll come up with a score. We're going to win 27-20. I'm feeling 27-20.
I'm a little more optimistic than Mark. 28-14, and DeAndre Carter's finally taken one to the house. I know he's done it before, but
that'll be two.
Yeah. For no rational reason other than the fact that because I've been a Redskins fan long enough, I know we win the games that don't matter, and we don't matter when they need to win. I could see us winning this game like 31-13. interception for a touchdown. You know what I mean? A weird game that everybody looks at and you look at and be like, where has they been all? Like, I literally look at the team and say, where has that team been all season long? So I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't go. I'll go 20. I'll go 28-13. And I don't even think it's that close. I think the Giants pack it in.
I liked your 31-13 better. Feels better. When's the last time we put 31 on anybody?
Tampa.
Probably, yeah.
Was it Tampa?
If only we were playing the Bucks again.
How do we do that?
Yeah, that's the one we're all going to be. That's going to be like Pittsburgh was last year. That's going to be the one game.
Yeah, in the
We beat
year we
Tampa.
beat Green Bay, the year they won the Super Bowl, the
Yeah.
year we beat
Yeah.
Baltimore, when they won the Super Bowl, the year we always find our way to do that. But
So
I think
Big
these
Ben's
playoffs
done,
go
right?
the way. I'm sorry, John.
Big Ben's done for the career, right? Last game coming up, unless they.
For Big Ben, that's what they apparently.
that's what he says. So we'll see what
Did
happens.
anyone doubt that he was going to win that last game in Pittsburgh? I didn't even watch. I knew that Pittsburgh was going to win that game, and I didn't need to see it.
I think his guys were going to win it for him, whether he played well or not. I don't think.
Well, that and the Browns, right? The Browns are going to brown until they're no longer the Browns. So
You mean like the Redskins are going to Redskin until they're
yeah,
no
but we're
longer-
not the Redskins anymore. We're
even
gonna
though
be
they're not the Redskins.
we're going to be the Washington, and we're going to kick some ass for the next 50 years.
I wish I
So-
knew a Commodore song and I'd sing it right now, but I don't.
He's a brick house.
Ow.
That's it. Yes, I just did that dance. I apologize.
Ugh, oof. So congrats to Charles Leno. I like the move. I'm happy with the move.
Yes, I'm down with that.
We're paying a starting offensive tackle less than 15 million while you have another starting offensive tackle on a rookie deal. I think it's smart. Flowers probably your starting left guard. Rouillet will be your starting center. That leaves a hole at right guard because I'm assuming that Scherf is gone.
That'll be a free agent.
So,
Um,
hey, before we sign off, I wanted to, not that he's going to listen to our podcast, but he has given us some shout outs on Rick Snyder's Washington on his little
saw that.
podcast. Because he had some health issues this evening and I think he's doing okay. He's still a tweeting. So that's always a good sign, but we wish him well and hope he recovers from that pretty quickly.
Get right, Rick. Get right.
Absolutely. And hey, Rick, if you ever want to come on the podcast, all you got to do is say something.
And our shout outs to our two other foxhole
Yep.
mates, Neophyte Bob and Canadian Hog Paul, both of whom were unavailable tonight. So we would turn in
We
this
miss
less
you.
than satisfactory product in their absence.
Yep. So I guess we'll see. We'll talk and see what we want to do about podcasts moving forward. I don't know that there'll be weekly regularity, but we'll hit the big events. Maybe do one next week, then one after the name change and some other things.
Yeah, I'm thinking definitely next week. And then as we head up to game before and after the name thing. So
Well, and then we got to start doing our draft breakdown. I don't know if you guys have started doing your research, but my Excel file is starting to grow now. with
not
some
yet,
of that
brother.
stuff.
Not until we're officially out, until we're done. Monday.
Yeah, I try to do it while college games are still meaningful because then you can see some things. So it's
This is
been
the
fun,
beauty of-
gentlemen, and we'll sign off. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
to
gents.
everybody out there listening
Thanks,
and
guys.
watching. And hail.
Hail. Be safe.